I guess I'll do that. I don't know how that works. So I did it. It's recording. Okay. So, welcome. And the first thing up is the motion to approve last month's minutes. Did everybody have a chance to read the minutes?
Yep.
Okay. Does anybody want to make a motion to pass or to accept the minutes?
I'll make
So-
it.
Okay. That was Steve. You made the motion.
Yep.
And does anybody want to second the motion?
I second it. Have.
Okay, Hal, does anybody want to have any discussion or does anybody have any concerns about the minutes before we move on to a vote? No? Okay. All in favor of accepting last month's minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody abstain?
Aye.
Hal abstained. And anybody, or was that a delayed aye for yes? Okay. Anybody not accept the minutes? No. Nay. No. Okay. So they pass. All right. The next thing was the humidity temperature updates on the agenda, and I saw the graphs, Stacy, and I see that Stacy's also on the phone and on mute. So, so how about if we come back to that? Has anybody had a chance to do the, to look at the bills?
Yes.
Thank you, Steve. Has anybody else? Gary did? Okay. So should we do the motion to pay the bills then? And what was the total?
Got that somewhere.
Oh, we got Stacy back. She's off the phone. Oh, no, she's back on the phone. Does anybody have the total? Where would I find it?
It was in Stacy's,
Was it in Stacy's?
or no, yeah, I'm looking for it right now.
Yeah, I gotta find it too. I had it up, but I have too many things up on my. See.
Vouchers, sent on Friday, 9/25.
Thank you.
What were the numbers? If you can just give them to me, I'll write them in the minutes.
Just opening the document.
Okay. Oh, is it 410 through 438, I think?
Yes. 430, I don't think I see a 438, I see 437.
437, yeah.
Wait, there is a 438, it was a negative, that's, so I don't know why. It's
Yeah,
minus.
what's that, I wonder?
Oh, they canceled the Survey Monkey contract probably. Yeah, so through 438.
438. Okay, and the total amount is?
So it looks like it's 5085.93.
No,
No?
now that I'm back, we had to add the cost of the FLCC computer training, which was part of the MPL Friends grant. So, because I got the invoice, but it was right after the accountant had come. So that was for 1,250.
That's so the new number is the 6335.
Yes. Sorry, I was trying to get a hold of Mert. I could hear you, but I'm like, I can't do both. But
Okay,
even,
so Denise at 6335.93.
Okay, yep, I see that. Okay, thank you.
And did you get the correct numbers, 117 through 126? The voucher number?
Oh, I'm sorry, that's what it is. Yeah, I'm looking at the line totals and they don't add, line totals aren't right. Yeah, 117 to 126.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. Good catch.
Okay, great. All right.
I make a motion to approve the bills for the month of for this month.
I second it.
Okay.
All in favor, or does anybody want to have a discussion? I always forget that part. Okay, and no, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Anybody? Okay, good. Anybody abstain? And any nays, noes, whatever that is? No. Okay, great. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, so Stacy, we skipped by the next thing on the agenda because you were on the phone, which was the humidity temp updates. So
Right.
can,
So basically, based on, everybody got the information I sent out?
yep, we saw your graph.
So basically, the temperature outside dropped a little and things got a little better, but they're still not quite where they need to be. But I don't know if there's anything that can be done in that regard. Bruce, maybe you can speak to whether Train has done any inspections recently or anything.
Not that I'm aware of. Scott's actually going to put a call into them. He recently gave me access to check out the sensors myself in the library because he's been too busy to do it. So Stacy, you have my phone number, right? My cell phone
you have a
number?
library card?
I do?
So I do, yes.
Okay, so what I'd like to ask you to do, I tried to log in tonight, but I couldn't for some reason. What I'd like you to do is if you notice an anomaly, message me and I should be able to log in remotely from somewhere else and I can check it more immediately.
Okay.
Also, do you think there's a need for a third dehumidifier? Are the two working pretty hard?
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you because it's tricky now because we don't actually want it to get too dry in the library because of COVID, but we don't want it to be too humid. I think it's more the temperature at this point. If that could be kept, at 68 to 70, that would
Okay.
be perfect. I don't know if, like I say, I mean, I know the dehumidifier would help with the temperature, but now it's so tricky.
Yeah. Okay.
But lowering the temperature is fine. Like I was today was a hot day and it got pretty hot working. And I was working at my desk a lot. So you shouldn't be feeling like you're melting when you're sitting at a desk. So I don't know. I think
Okay.
it just gets hot for whatever.
Outside temperatures are going to drop tomorrow and stay down.
Yeah. But even if you look at the information I sent out, even it does drop when the temperature outside drops, but it's still above 70. And I don't know. I mean, it seems like it would save money in some ways to keep it lower, but maybe not. Maybe it wouldn't. Maybe it would require more air conditioning. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. But maybe the change to fall will solve a lot.
I'm sure. My guess is it will.
But my concern is for next summer, because I don't think we're going to be having, well, you never know, but we seem to have a trend of hot summers. So just keeping in mind for next summer that we might want to try to do something before we get into the summer. That would be.
Okay. I should be able to closely regulate it now once I get this access
Right.
working.
Sure. And maybe we can figure it out.
Yeah. And I think taking out my need to contact the Scott, the engineer, will speed up my response.
Right. And if Train does come for like an annual inspection or whatever they do, a visit, maybe just telling them like it was kind of miserable this summer and putting it on their radar so maybe they can get ahead of the 8 ball for next summer.
Okay.
Or do something now that will help for next summer. That's all.
Okay.
All right, thank you. One of the things that I realized, Denise, I don't know for you, that we didn't do any kind of roll call, and I just wanted to let everybody know that Phoebe is here. Yay! Welcome, Phoebe. Do you need us to go through who's on the call, or are you good?
I'm fine. Everybody's name is there and I have the list in
Okay,
front of me. Thank you.
no problem. You don't have Steve's name, but the phone number is Steve.
Oh, okay.
Okay, great.
I lost you.
She muted herself.
Oh, you're-
Sorry.
There.
We started with the financial report. It's just habit to hit that mute
I
button.
know.
But we didn't keep going because we circled back. So now we are up to updates from Chris and from Gary.
All right, Gary, do you want me to go first? Is that okay? All right. I'll share my screen, I hope. All right, so what we have here is the August board summary. I think we're pretty used to seeing this. Oddly enough, as a quick aside, this is something that was like months and months of in the making. So I know it seems like it's a pretty regular thing that we see this, but it took a while to get to this point. So it seems like it's working. So, but if it doesn't give you what you want to see, or if you think that it's lacking in some way, definitely feel free to let me know, because we can revise this. This does not have to be this way all the time. So if you ever need anything else, just let me know. But to that end, we have the revenue on the top portion and the expenses just under that. If you look at the revenue, we are just about right on budget. As usual, Stacy is going above and beyond with grants. She beats budget all the time almost. So even though fines are under budget and miscellaneous revenue is under budget, mostly because of COVID, the favorable variance with the gifts and the grants almost totally offsets that. So we're pretty much on target as far as revenue goes. Expenses, we are also favorable right now. A lot of that's timing. So salaries are under budget. That's because of that's because of COVID. We had some, fewer hours and didn't have the same volume of services over the summer as we usually do. Benefits are significantly under budget. We have not paid the town for health insurance at all in 2020. So usually by this point, we've paid at least 2 bills, if maybe even 3. We haven't paid any. So I think we are going to hear some more about that this evening, but I would expect to see that catch up before the end of the year. I don't think it's going to, I don't think we're going to, should expect to be $40,000 under budget on that. Contractual is a little bit under budget. Mostly the materials and supplies are underspent because of COVID. There are some smaller increases, like the website and some other things that Stacy has really strived to do, really to keep services where they, at a high level, even though everything was being done remote. But I mean, if you don't have any copier activity, then you don't buy paper. So there's not a whole lot you can do about some of those things. So overall, right now, operating results, the budget was about, through August, was at a $97,000 to the good, and we're at 150 right now. That's a $53,000 positive variance. So that's good. A lot of that is due to timing, but even once you take that timing into consideration, I still think that the salaries are pretty much, they're under budget by about that 12,000. Contractual is going to be under by about 5. So you're looking at almost $20,000 under budget on expenses that won't go away because of timing. And so if we stay on track with revenue, that's looking at about $20,000 better than budget over the course of the year. Reserves wise, our general fund, remember we get paid at the beginning of the year. We get our tax levy, and it has to last us all year. So right now in that bank account, we have $452,000. So we can make it another month.
Oh, wow.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Any questions for Chris about that?
No.
I am curious, you said we're going to hear later about the financials related to the benefits.
That's what a little birdie told me today.
Okay, well, I will wait till when we're going to hear about it. So do we vote on accepting that, or do we wait to hear from Gary? Does anybody-
I'm not going to speak to the current budget for, I mean, the current state for this month's
Okay.
expenses. So we could vote. I don't know. Do we usually vote on it?
Yeah, I
I
don't think,
think we do.
I don't think we do.
Accepting it?
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't think
okay.
so.
All right. I get confused.
Okay, so the only thing I was going to talk about, Stacy, was it a separate agenda item, or was it now the time to talk about the audit?
I'm sorry, something happened and I couldn't make out what you just said.
I said, was it a separate agenda item? Procedural audit review. It's a
think
new
it is a
business, so
separate,
yeah, I'll wait till then. So I don't have anything to add on the financials.
Okay.
The only question I guess would be, Bruce, we did submit it to the town, the 2021 budget, and haven't heard anything about approvals, questions, anything. So I don't know if you've got anything for us.
I don't. The supervisor's budget is going to be shared with us by the 1st of October. So part of the delay has been reconciling 2018 and 2019. The having the chain, I'm trying to say this, how do I say this politically? There have been some financial pieces that we have had to relook at and reconcile between our last administration and this one. So our current supervisor right now has a solid accounting background. So I did submit the budget to the town board. I haven't heard anything other than good. I'm glad that it's flat. I wish I had more for you right now, but I will by the beginning of October. I just texted Kim, and it says that she will have a bill to you by the 15th of October.
Okay.
Is there some information that you were going to share with us tonight, though? 'Cause
I'm not the little birdie.
Oh, well, she had said in an email to me that there was some information you would come with at this when we had this meeting that we're in right now. So I didn't know what it meant.
I don't know what that means either.
I'm guessing it's exactly what you just
shucks.
shared.
Be what I just said.
Maybe. I mean, in reference to the health insurance.
Yeah.
So,
She said to me that the library is 9 months behind, but that's because of her reconciling 2018 and 2019. And she mentions that the library has never paid a dental bill. So,
that's not true.
okay, I don't know.
I think that's true.
Okay.
But I can look in the records. I don't think that's true.
Well,
But I'll look because it could. I know it's with
that's
health.
fine.
Yeah.
I'm just sharing information that's being shared with me. I would have the first-hand knowledge of that. So
Yeah. Well, I'll look just in case there is a problem. I would want to know so we could fix it.
yeah.
So Stacy, for everyone's benefit, when you pay the benefits, right, to the town, is your understanding that covers all health benefits, both medical and dental?
No, I could swear there wasn't a bill for. I can look it up.
Okay.
They're separate. They're most
They are
definitely
separate. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I didn't know.
Yeah, and it's a separate, and only Julia gets it. And it was a whole thing because she opted in and it had to be prorated. It was a whole thing.
Okay.
But
All right.
I'll look at the records and make sure that the town did indeed get their reimbursement.
Yep.
Right. And then
Thanks.
we'll see when we do get a bill, what the bill entails and reconcile it at that point, it sounds like.
Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Bruce. So sounds like that covers what the little birdie was probably supposed to say.
Yeah.
Thank you, Birdie.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
It was a big setup. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I think we're moving on now to the director's report and questions or comments. I had a chance to read the report, and you have here it says, Tara has here, should we consider allowing families in together, make family style appointments or allow for all to come in and not wait in the car. It sounds like what's happened is that there's been a few times, I don't know how many, that
Not very often, but occasionally. It's not the families usually come in together, and we can't always tell, depending on how they file in, that they're one group. And what's more often, it's not a ton of times. A couple of times there's been a case where a family comes in and takes up the 4 allotments, and then somebody that's just one person or maybe a couple, they have to wait for this family to do their turn and come out. I think if we bumped our allowed number of people to 6, that would probably alleviate that problem.
And how with the ratio of 4 people to the amount of space plus the number of staff, how are we doing on during whatever distance we're supposed to allow for and all of that?
We're doing fine. If we had 6, we'd still be within the New York State forward guidelines. Because the most we should probably have, according to New York State Forward, would be half of our capacity, which is 12 and a half. So 12 or 13 people, you can't have a half person.
Why don't we bump it up to 13 so we don't have the problem again?
Yeah. Well, we don't talk in those terms to patrons because they would get confused. They don't count us. They forget about us. So
you don't have to tell the patrons. If somebody calls and says, can I come in?
they don't call.
Says,
That's
yes.
they don't really call. They just show up. And then it helps because we can put a number of people we allow in. So there's no anybody possibly thinking, well, I went and they made me wait. And like, if you know a number, then it's just better because we're not playing it different for different people. It's 6. So you come and there's 6 already in, you got to wait for one to come out.
If the maximum is 25 and we can have 50%, why limit it to 6? Why not make it 12 or 13?
Because staff counts.
Yeah.
Okay, how
many
much staff?
are there at any one time? 4?
Right now we've had it at 4 and it's been okay for the most part, but I think 6 would just make it a little bit better for the few times on occasion, like a family of 4 might come in.
Denise's question though was how many staff have you had at any one time?
Probably not more than 4, but also we sometimes have a person on the computer, and on occasion it's 2 people.
Well, those are members of the public, you mean?
I'm sorry?
Those are members of the public on the computer, you mean?
Right.
So they count, you know.
They count too. Everybody who comes in the building counts.
So assuming that you have 4 employees at any one time, you could have 8 members of the public. And let's say, you know, one day you only have 3 employees, you could essentially have 9 members.
Yeah, but we don't want to push it to the limit because sometimes the friends come in to sort books. Like sometimes the town has people working on the ventilation or doing a fire alarm test. I want to have a bit of.
How often does that happen?
At least once a month.
Well, then.
And so for once a month, somebody comes in, you're going to cut down the number of people, the patrons who can come in? That doesn't sound fair.
No, I think the way to go, because unexpected things happen, is to just have a set number. And that's been working since we reopened. And I'm just asking that we bump it up. That's all. And
I think we should bump it up more.
I do too. I don't understand why if the friends were coming in to sort books, they wouldn't call first and let you know they were coming, how many were coming. And then, you know, you could adjust.
But then for the public, it's more complicated because if it's a set number, then you just know, you can look, it's a visual, you can see the cars and kind of figure, well, if one person's in each car and there are 6 cars, or if you see 4 cars, you know, well, probably they're getting close because you're supposed to park in the allotted spaces.
Well, the public though isn't responsible for counting. The library is, you know.
No, but it's a nice visual. It does away, nobody's complained, they love it. Everybody's been very pleased. It's just on our part, we were just hoping to make it a little nicer because of the 2 families that interfered with a couple. That's it. So I don't want to push it up too high because it scares me, because we're going into the fall and I think the risk of an increase in this thing is definitely there. And I just want to keep everybody safe. That's all.
Why don't we do 7? You wanted 6 and it sounds like we could go up to 8 because if you have 2 people then on the computer, then 7, that would be 9. And then if you had 4 staff, that's 13. So how about if we do 7?
Sure.
That sounds good.
Okay. Is everybody okay with 7? Do we have to vote on that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody
I
want
make a motion, we change the number to 7.
Anybody second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any more discussion on it? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Anybody abstain? Any nays? All right, passes unanimously. And we had Mert on here for a minute, and I don't think he's here anymore. Bummer, okay.
I didn't see him.
He came on and then, but then I think he ended up dropping off again. All right, so we've already talked about the humidity and the temperature. That was up earlier, so we can.
Yeah,
skip
let
that,
me
but-
add one more thing.
Yeah.
You should be getting a replacement door soon to the back entrance, or the back, what has been the exit.
Okay.
The hinge was actually broken and it's a pretty heavy door, so just want to let you know that that was discussed and that will be happening.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I think what was happening is as some patrons were leaving, the door was staying swung open.
Mhm.
So.
Great, thank you. Is there anything else that we should discuss related to the town, Bruce?
Well, I have something that I just want to throw out there, but I can wait until the end.
Okay.
Okay.
With there was another question I had, but I don't remember what it is. Okay. Okay, so then new business. Phoebe, do you have anything to report?
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Stacy had in her notes something about Election Day and closure.
Oh, yes. Is that, oh, that isn't in new business. Okay.
Maybe it was. I apologize.
It's not. I think it was a,
It's in her board note, her board report.
it is. Yep. Good catch. Thank you. So Stacy, you want to talk a little bit about that? And we got Mert back. Yay.
We
Here I am.
We are apt to see a lot of people for Election Day this year. And it'll probably be well over 1,000 people that come through the door. And I just think in the interest of keeping everyone safe, it might be wise to just not be open that one day. And also it kind of interferes, well, not kind of, it will interfere with New York State Forward, because you're supposed to have one way in and one way out. So during the election, people normally come through the side door. Like, it'll be a traffic jam. I just think it would be probably safest just not to be open.
Yeah, so how are they gonna come in? Are they gonna come in through the front door and then exit through the back door for the election?
That's up to the election people.
Well,
I mean, normally they just use the side door. I can't speak to what their plans are for this year, but
What did you
the library follows New York State forward. So we have people coming in through the front door and exiting out the side. But I can't speak to what the election commission will decide to do with their voting.
Yeah, so what you're saying is that guidelines are separate exit, separate entrance.
Right,
So if they're gonna follow those guidelines, they have to use the front door of the library.
yes.
And that just makes for you guys dealing with all those people, and it just doesn't make sense to be open if that's going on.
Right.
I agree with you. I think closing that day is a good decision.
Yeah.
So do I.
agree with
Does someone want to
Gordon
make a
that.
motion and then we can discuss?
I make a motion, the library closes on November 3rd, election day.
I
Second.
second it.
All right, so let's open it up for further discussion.
I
So-
have a question, actually. How do you ensure that people coming in that front door aren't gonna be going into the library and looking at books and things? Do you put up a barrier of some sort?
I don't know, because we've never had to do it before. I don't know.
Do we have any dividers that we could put up just essentially a walkway to the, are they
So how about you use yellow caution tape from the door to the door, and the library is basically blocked off with the yellow caution tape. And they have to
Well, the
follow the
best-
path. They have to follow the path.
Yeah, if they just came in the door and went between the public computers and in that one door yeah, that's a good idea. Use caution tape, you think?
Yeah.
Or maybe chairs that make like a row.
Chairs with tape, let's use
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
suspenders.
I mean, it's not gonna really stop someone who's just adamant to, but
No, but
What are they gonna
it
do?
sends a message.
yeah.
Stay out.
Yeah, that they're trespassing, yeah.
But I mean, we don't know that. Maybe there should be a conversation had with the election people, because traditionally they've just had people coming using the same door. And I mean, I don't know what their plans are.
Who's is it the election commissioner that would be in
Yeah.
charge of that?
Yeah,
Conversation anyways, just because they are, coming into the facility, and
right.
we are in a different environment, and you could tell them that we've decided to close the library that day.
Mhm.
They can follow the New York guidelines to have a separate entrance and exit. We're allowing them to do that based on not having the library open, and just find out what their plans are.
Yeah.
Yeah, is it worth a conversation with the election commission people ahead of time?
Right. They may have some plan, like maybe, I don't know. I don't know how I'm sure they have some plan. I just don't know what it is. Bruce,
Maybe
do you
just
have
talk
any
to them and find out.
I don't know what their plans are. I just know that question came up a couple of months ago from a resident about whether or not the venue should change. And I did find out that is a complicated process. So,
Mhm.
so it will be in the same location.
Mhm.
Yeah, there was a lot of frustration, I think, even about changes. Was it in the primary of locations? People were pretty unhappy. So
I mean, they should be, in reality, they should be putting stamps or something on the sidewalk for keeping people 6 feet apart, kind of thing. I mean,
Right.
but we don't tell them what to do. They gotta figure that out.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, yeah, they're their own entity. They just use our building, so it's not my
Mhm.
place to tell them.
No, just offering them up the separate entrance or exit I think is a good thing to do.
Right.
yep,
Well, I'll try to get in touch with the person. Bruce, do you know the name of the election commissioner? I know I do, but I can't think of what it is. I'll look it up.
Yeah.
So we have a motion on the floor to close. I know that there was also something connected to that about paying the workers for that day.
Right.
So I believe the motion was seconded and approved. Is
It
that right,
wasn't
Denise?
No, it wasn't approved yet. We
Okay,
had
sorry.
discussion. Yeah.
I-
So should we finalize that part and then move on to that
That's
issue?
what I
about
thought,
paying
yeah.
employees?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So, any more discussion? No?
Okay, so all in favor of closing the library on the day of the election, say aye.
I,
Aye.
Anybody abstain? Anybody opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. So then there's the issue of paying the persons who would normally work on election day. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, Stacy, before someone decides whether they're going to make a motion?
Well, I think that it would be the right thing to do because they normally would be working that day. We budgeted for them to be working that day. And we're in a position with payroll, as Chris pointed out, we could afford to do it. But it comes down to, what do you all want to do?
I agree, we should pay them.
Is
I
there
We're
think
any
closing them
issue?
out.
Is there any issue, Stacy, with part-time employees and paid for, I don't know, not actually having clocked in and getting paid? I guess I just want to make sure there's no.
Not as long as you can show in the minutes that the board resolved to allow for it.
Okay.
Because we do a little thing at the holiday time. They get a little, like 4 hours, like holiday pay because they don't get, holidays normally. So only at Christmas they get the 4 hours, or I think it's 4 or 6 hours, whatever it is. So
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we pay them.
I'll second that. Bert?
Okay, any further discussion? All right, then we'll take a vote. All in favor of paying the employees who would be on election day normally, say aye.
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 Anybody abstain? Any nays? Okay, motion passes unanimously.
thank you.
You like
I-
saying
one
that, don't you?
comment about the Friends do something the election day. I don't know if there are any plans for that. Probably not in
I
this
think they
COVID
canceled
environment.
their bake sale. I think they're not doing it this year because of it.
No, they're not going to do it.
Yeah. They
Okay.
So that is actually next up under new business, the Friends Liaison updates. So Phoebe, do you wanna oh, thank you.
Yeah, sure. No, we haven't been having meetings. We've been texting each other and stuff since March, I guess it is. But anyhow, we've had a very successful fundraiser at Doug's Fish Fry in Waterloo, and we raised $774. So that was nice. We have also sent out our direct mailing asking for donations, and those donations are starting to come in. As of about a week ago, we'd already received almost $1,800 in donations. So that was good. As far as our direct activities, we're talking about potentially having a Christmas sale that would consist of Christmas books and maybe Christmas puzzles, that kind of thing, and maybe nicer used books that people could buy for presents, and also setting up some baskets that people can buy raffle tickets on. That was a successful fundraiser for us last year, but we haven't settled on the details, so that is yet to be worked out. Our fall book sale, which was scheduled for the week of October, let's see, I guess it was October 14th through the 17th, we've decided to, after a lot of discussion back and forth, and so that it's just impossible to do with all of the COVID restrictions. And so we've decided not to try to hold that this fall, and hopefully we'll be able to hold one in the spring. The other thing that is coming up is a barbecue, a chicken barbecue on Saturday, October the 17th. And that is from the Gale Wynn Catering Company, who did it last year, and it was delicious and very successful. We did well on that. And that is going to be from 1 to 5 in the parking lot at the public library. Jane Countryman, who's running the barbecue, asked me to ask all of you if you would be willing to, 1, buy tickets, and 2, sell tickets. And if you give her a call, she will get those tickets to you, or you can pick them up at the library. Can I put into the official minutes, can I put in her address and her telephone number so that everyone can easily access all that information, meaning you guys?
Yeah, you don't want them actually to appear in the minutes, right?
Pardon?
You just want us to know them. You don't want them to appear in the minutes because the public has access to the minutes.
Yeah, no, the public can have access to her telephone number, and she's she's sending that information out to all of the public. So it's 315-986-3210.
Okay.
Or her cell phone is 585-261-8544. She is also encouraging people to buy their tickets in advance, but the pre-sale is going to end on Friday, October 9th, because she has to call in the Wingale people. The tickets are $10. For you, if you're willing to buy tickets, she will give you her home address, and that's 1790 Magog Road here in Macedon. So 1790 Magog Road, and you can either write her or you can telephone her, but that information should indeed not be put in the minutes that everyone can access. You can either pay when you pick up your dinner, or you can mail a check or give a check to her, and the check should be made out to the Friends of the MPL. And hopefully we'll have a good turnout. So that's about it, I guess.
Maybe what is the date?
Questions? Pardon?
What is the date for the
The date Saturday, October 17th.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, from 1 to 5.
I went over to Doug's the other day and got a fish fry, and they're absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Did anybody get the shrimp? I got the shrimp. It was really good.
We got a fish fry and a scallop dinner, and both of them were great.
Yeah.
The coleslaw was delicious.
It was good.
Very good.
It's a bit of a hike to go to Waterloo, though, but unfortunately they don't have the license to do it here in Macedon. So that's the closest we can get.
It was a nice day for a drive.
I don't know. I
Casey,
stood out
are
in
you
the
gonna
rain.
have-
I stood out in the rain. Got wet.
Oh,
Slow rain.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. That was great news about all of the fundraising and all of the amazing work. So the next thing on the list is the procedural audit or review. Can we?
So I'll go ahead and start, and Stacy, you jump in. So Stacy and I met actually today with the only responder to the RFP, which was, I think, what was a Bonadio group. And we met with a representative from Bonadio, Randy Shepard. And in our discussion, while we were talking, Stacy ended up reaching out to Ron Kursup, who most of you know is the Pioneer Library liaison or lead.
System director.
Thank you, System Director. And just to kind of clarify, what really are we required to do as a library for our audit? We didn't want to make sure that, we didn't want to have Bonadio do group and go ahead and go forward with this thing and not meet the requirements of whatever, we absolutely had to do. And Ron basically came back and said we needed to do a spot check on our financials processes and a spot check on some other processes as well. And we can kind of pick and choose what those are. So we discussed that with Randy, and we're going to continue the discussion and basically come to an agreement on these are the processes that we're going to have them review. They actually come to the library. They observe, do observations. It would be like maybe a few hours one day, a few hours another day, or maybe a whole day one day. And then they prepare basically a letter. It's not a full-blown report. It's a letter saying this is what we observed, and this is what we saw that's working well, and this is what we think are some possible recommendations. So the board will have an opportunity to read that, and then obviously we decide what we want to take action on, et cetera, where there may be some deficiencies. So before we do any agreement with them, Stacy and I were working on what are those procedures that we're going to have them review. He had suggested, for example, any of your check processing, right? We should review how we do that. Anything that's got some financial aspect to it. Even he mentioned the payroll processes. So most of these things are in our financial procedures. And so that's probably where we're going to focus most of our attention. So we'll get back to you with more. The other key takeaway is we asked about if those of you who may recall, the RFP had the way they structured their response. It showed all different types of people in their organization and their fee schedules. Somebody that was $90 an hour up to somebody that was $330 an hour. Well, Randy happens to be the one that does all the library stuff with other libraries. He's the knowledgeable one with that respect. He may have a few people help gather some of our data, download things, but he's the one that's going to probably do most of the work. And of course, he happens to be at the high end of the hourly rate at $330 an hour. I asked him if I could sign up for a job, but anyways, so we were thinking that we only allocated for next year's budget about $3,000 for this audit. Well, you take 330 into $3,000, we're not even getting 10 hours worth of work. So we're thinking that we may need to up this sum. Stacy, was thinking maybe along the neighborhood of maybe $5,000. That's like 15 hours of work, and just say it's not more than that. He had proposed, he thought he would, based on his past experience and procedures we talked about, he had thrown out 20 hours, he thought, of work that might be required. That's at his rate, $6,600. So we thought maybe we could try to find some sort of happy medium. We'll come back to you with what that number is, that we think we should propose, but I just wanted to give you a heads up. That's kind of where we're at. The other possibility, we put this into the 2021 budget. He said that their year is very, very busy at the beginning of the year. And this would likely not happen probably till the April-May timeframe. However, if we wanted to do it in December, they could do the work, but we don't pay them till January. Or they even, if because our budget this year, we haven't spent everything, we're under budget, we could potentially even get the work done this year if we wanted to go forward with that. Obviously, we've been trying to, based on the town's request to stay flat, try to save some money. That maybe not be something that we should pursue, but I wanted to throw it out there as an option as well. So
Would it be,
one at a time. Go ahead, Steve.
should we wait and see what the town comes back to us on our budget is before we commit to this?
It's probably not a bad idea because,
I mean, it's not something that has to be done right now,
no.
but, depending on the town's financial situation, they may request. So we might have to readjust here.
Well, the town's having an audit right now, and we haven't had an audit in 6.5 years, which is, if we were to be audited by the state comptroller, that would be frowned upon greatly. Like the maximum they care to see a institution go would be 3 years. And
With COVID and everything else, I don't think that's going to be the top line item is Macedon's, audit. But it's up to you guys.
Well, we have a reserve.
So I think, Steve, your point is good. The thing is, we want to get it done, right? I don't think we don't, it's just a question of, we put it in the budget for next year. As long as our budget remains the way it is, then we're good. If we, if something changes with the budget, like you said, do we wait and see? We may want to push this forward now while we still have money in our budget this year. I think we wait and see. We still got work to do to figure out what are the procedures, et cetera. So it's not like we're ready to make the decision. I'm just giving you the update. Bruce, is there anything you want to chime in on at all, or?
No, I mean, having that, what was it, $20,000? You're $20,000 under budget right now is the anticipation because of is it salary?
Payroll, salary,
Yeah.
Mostly, yeah. I think it was 12. I don't remember if it was 20.
It was 20.
Was it 20? Okay.
So, I mean, you could put it in there tentatively and then find out what the town comes back with. I mean, if we're looking at, if you've already anticipated paying the healthcare, the dental might be a surprise, but if it's for one employee, it sounds like you're going to have some money available.
I've been thinking about the dental. I
Oh, no.
thought that the dental was completely on the employee. Because she's been paying a huge stipend out of her check, or not stipend, that's not the word, having a lot of money withdrawn from her check to have the dental.
Right.
I think you need to look at the record on that.
Okay. So you're anticipating $6,000 for
That
an audit?
would be if we went with the full, 6,600 if we went with the full 20 hours. Yeah.
And you were suggesting for the 2021?
We had only budgeted 3. And so we were already, this, and we said, well, maybe we could go to 5. We'd already be, we've got some reserves. So obviously we could take $2,000 from our reserve to cover it. So we have the ability to do that. It's just, the board's got to agree this is the right way to spend the money. That's all.
Well, if it's been how many years, Stacy?
6.5.
I mean, I'm not familiar with the law around auditing. That seems like quite a racket to mandate that people do it every 3 years at that expense. But if it's been 6, then I would put the money in. I would budget it, and then you could take the 2 out of the reserve in the hopes that you're going to have some left. At least plan for it. You're gonna have, what I mean is have some left. What I mean is come in under budget.
Plus, if you have, I mean, Randy's more expensive. I worked with Randy for years at Bonadio, so I know Randy.
Is
But
he worth it?
yeah, definitely. I think the benefit is that he doesn't have to go to anybody else to get their answer. He's the
That's
top
right.
guy.
He
So
said he'd probably get it done a lot faster.
Yeah.
Go to somebody else, we're gonna pay a lower rate, but it's gonna take them twice as long because he has the knowledge and experience. For him, 15, if you think about 15, 20 hours, it's only 2 days, 3 days worth of work here, guys. So it's not like a lot of work.
well, to be honest, he might even if we run it right. I mean, he could probably do it in a day and a half. He doesn't even be there for 2 full days because he'll know exactly what he wants to look at. He'll give you a list of the things that he wants. You give it to him in a little pile when he comes out. He goes right through it. It'll take a lot of your time, Stacy, to chat with you.
No, our confidence level in the conversation was high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, hours wise, so I think we can do a good job. If it's all Randy, we can do a good job of keeping the hours to a minimum. So I think, I think budgeting 5 is a pretty good idea. And if it does go up to like 6, that's just we can try to manage that, but it's only $1,000 over budget, but we can try to keep it to 5. That would be good.
Any other feedback or comments before we move on?
And I think 5's a good audit fee for Bonadio too. Like I think it's for a firm that size, that's very fair for the library.
He did agree. He would do a DNE, do not exceed.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes, he did say that.
Because you could do that. You could say 5,000. Like let's these are all the procedures that we want you to perform, and he'll say I can do all of them, but I can't do these last 3.
Right. That's where we got to get
And then
to.
we say that's good enough.
Now, should we have a little committee meeting to decide what areas we want him to look at?
So Stacy, you and I are doing it. Does anyone else like to participate in that discussion with us about picking which procedures? And if not, we'll just bring it back to the board.
He might have some too.
He did.
Yeah,
He did. Payroll was one.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Or do you, Chris, have any recommendations? And maybe we don't need a meeting. Like if we were just going to have financial spot checked and procedures, like what would you say would be the most important?
So you know what, Stacy? Because I know
sorry.
Debbie says she's got a hard stop at 8, and we got 10 minutes.
Oh,
I think we can. That's all right. I think we can table the discussion on the audit. We can go figure that out. Maybe have a side conversation with Chris, and take it from there. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. All right, so let's see what we have next. Sorry about this with the timing. I did not know that would happen. We've already talked about the November 3rd close, so that's great. The RDG and partners for payroll, Stacy.
Yeah, so I sent the quote to all of you, and basically they can come in cheaper than ADP, even though they use ADP. I don't totally understand how that all works, but they can do it. And I think, I don't know, I don't have a problem with it. If they can come in cheaper than ADP, why wouldn't we do it? I think I worked out the math to be $500 a year, something like that.
yeah, 480 or something.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about this company?
Yeah, that's where Chris originally came from.
Oh,
RDG, and they also do our QuickBooks. They send a person who does our QuickBooks. It used to be Monica, and now it's Kelsey. She's a new person. Monica moved up.
So I'll throw a question out there related to our procedures, and if we were being audited, to go and select somebody else without going out for bid or some sort of I'm just throwing it out there. Should we really be putting this out for bid? I mean, you got an unsolicited offer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, the undercuts.
I understand. So how do we as a board, how are we supposed to handle something like that? That's the question.
There are usually vendor approval limits. You know, you usually have some thresholds. It's like anything over X amount has to get bids or quotes or you have to
Okay,
substantiate.
that
this
makes
amount.
sense.
I would think for $500, that's probably below.
It sounds
Well,
probably,
that's
Yeah.
the savings. That's
Oh,
savings. It's
Oh,
what did the quote say? $68 was it per pay period? And there are, let me see.
$8 per page.
So $1,768, something in that ballpark.
I mean, you know it's going to be less if you know it's less than what you currently pay. So there's like two
Yeah.
quotes right there.
And I know it's going to be less. I mean, we just switched not long ago, and I did a lot of dickering to get the price that we have with ADP. And if they can beat ADP, nobody's going to beat that. It's a good price that I got. So if they can be even less than that, I think I mean, why not?
so do you give the current vendor an opportunity to give us another price without telling them anything about the price? Just, I don't know. I mean, how do you go to them and say, well, we're going with somebody else without what you're, I mean, I'm just trying to be
Right.
upfront. I mean,
You just do it. I don't know. I mean, paycheck.
I mean, I could do it with my contractor at my house, but
I mean, paychecks got to be really annoying, and so we switched to ADP. It wasn't. You just tell them, you're switching. And sometimes, if they really want to keep you, they'll match the price. Again, can't lose with that, or they'll cut it.
Agree with that.
They'll undercut.
Let's do anything and we can save some money.
Gary, you sell antiques. You know how this works.
oh, I do.
But whatever you want me to do, I'm fine leaving it alone. I don't have any major issues with ADP. But it's a good deal. Anytime you can save money.
And we have no concerns about the company, it sounds like. So I guess I don't see the downside.
But really, it's just, I'll be calling somebody local, which to me is great, and they'll be dealing with ADP. What's not to like?
Does anybody want to make a motion, or do we want to table it, or how do we want to, any thoughts?
Or do you want to invite somebody from RDG to Zoom in next time?
not really.
Does Chris have any ideas?
$500,
No, I mean, I think what happened, Lauren Burns used to do Bonadio payroll years ago, and she now is under RDG. So, and she ran payroll, but she uses whatever payroll platform she wants. Like it used to be CPP, then it was USA Payroll, and now I think it's ADP.
It
So
is.
yeah, so she runs the payroll. She's like the service provider, and she just uses whatever platform. So she used to be at Bonadio. She was there for like 25 years, and now she just went over to RDG to like so it's like RDG payroll. It's like a new thing that they're doing.
Yeah.
So we're using the same system. We're just using somebody local versus who's reselling that service.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
And
So
same
we're going to save some money. So I know I was the one that was kind of throwing all the wrenches here, but I'll go ahead and make a motion that we switch to our RDG
Yes.
for payroll.
Second,
Is that Steve?
And,
second.
Yes.
any other, yeah, that was Steve. Any other discussion?
Sounds good to me.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Anybody abstain? Anybody say no? All right, motion passes. And just for Gary, I will say that it was unanimous.
Yep.
Stacy,
Yep,
do you have chicken barbecue tickets down there now?
we do.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
All right, the completed 990. What is that?
The completed 990, it's the annual report that you send to the federal government that tells them all your assets, and maybe Chris could probably explain it better. We used to pay Chris to do it.
Yeah.
Now we paid somebody at RDG to do it, and I usually put it on the website after you approve it, and if anybody in the public wants to see it, they can, because they may want to know, where we stand financially, and everything is in there that you could ever want to know, even our mission statements in it. So
It's your tax return.
yeah,
But because you don't pay any taxes, it's all informational.
Right.
So it's assets, liabilities, revenue, expenses, what you've accomplished as an organization, your board members, tax filings, things like that.
So Stacy, you're looking for us to approve this?
yes,
Is it something you sent us?
yes.
Okay, I didn't look at it, so I feel.
I didn't get it.
I sent it, or I thought somebody would come in to approve, like to look at the bills, and nobody did. So that might be why. I can't remember. I thought I sent it to you, but maybe I didn't. I didn't.
I don't think I saw it.
No.
No.
Well,
Can we approve it next month if you send it out?
yeah.
Yeah, that
Why don't
sounds
we go ahead and do that?
a good plan. So we will look for that for next month, and we will review it, and we will then discuss or approve. Sounds good. All right, approve Ariana Rex hiring.
Ariana is just a high school student, and honestly, if we don't have her, we have to be closed on Thursdays because we lost Melissa to a better job. And so I don't really have the budget to hire somebody for the few amount of hours that we have available. So this was a good solution. She asked me if we had an opening. And then I was like, oh no, but you can give me your cover letter and everything. And then the next thing I know, Melissa's telling me, I got this better job. So it was really weird. It was like it was written in the stars. But it's just kind of a standard procedure that the board would approve anyone I hire.
I make the motion.
I'll second that. Bert,
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Anybody nay? Okay, motion passes unanimously. All right, so we have open discussion. Is there anything that we need to discuss that we haven't discussed already?
Yes, I sent everybody information about, as of September 30th, organizations have to pay part-time employees sick time, and the way it works is for every so many hours that the employee works, they earn an hour of time towards their sick pay. They can't draw anything from it until the first of the year, even though it starts accumulating as of October 1st. So, did anybody read through the information I sent?
I did.
So, thoughts about it?
I thought it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I think it is too, but I mean, I feel like the board needs to be aware of it and probably approve it, I think, because I don't know, it's mandated, but it seems like, well, I sent out a policy, so you should have to approve the policy that I whipped up quickly.
Yep.
But I don't know if everybody's read it.
Does anybody need time to read it, or have we read it already and can vote on it?
I think we'll table that for next time. I haven't had a chance to read it.
Okay.
Can we do that? Because the sick time starts accumulating October 1st. So is it okay to table it in this case?
I don't know.
Can't we just do it retroactively? Next month?
I don't know,
I don't know either.
to be honest.
Well, but if people haven't read it, they can't vote on it.
Right.
Why don't we just do it next month and make it retroactive?
Sure.
I think we're gonna have to, because it would be a problem to try and vote on something we're not fully informed on.
Well, I'm just curious why it is I send things out to the board and they don't get read. Because it's a kind of a problem, and it causes problems. Like, we should know what we're doing with this, and it shouldn't be done retroactively. That's all. I mean, I just feel like it needs to be said. So I would appreciate if people, when I send things out, could try to make time to read them so they're prepared.
I understand your
Stacy.
comment. Yeah.
Thank you.
That
Yeah,
seems like more than a liable request.
I'm sorry, Mert.
I said that seems like more than a reliable request or a court request that we should all adhere to.
Thanks, Mert.
All right, it's gonna be tabled in the minutes then. Okay.
all right. So is there anything else? All right, if there's nothing else, does anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I will.
Okay,
Second.
okay, and anybody, everybody in favor, or anybody in
Aye.
favor? Aye.
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 Anybody abstain, or anybody not in favor? Motion, the last one, passes unanimously.
You did a good job.
Next,
Thank
Is
you. I'm
next
no
meeting-
Sarah, but
is-
I'm good.
is our next
Oh, sorry.
is
go
our
ahead.
next meeting going to be virtual also?
I would
You
as-
know, probably.
Yeah, I would assume. so.
Probably. Yeah, he just keeps every month extending it. So I would presume.
I thought there was gonna be a possible laptop computer for Steve, so he doesn't
Yep,
have to be.
he just needs to stop in. We can give him.
Yeah.
Okay, super.
All right, wonderful. Thank you,
right.
everybody.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good
Okay,
one.
good night.